I am Ivan Michael C. Atienza of Batangas State University, Bachelor of Science Information Technology from the section IT 102. And for today's video, I'll be doing a summary of CCNA Routing and Switching, Chapter 2, Configure a Network Operating System. Let's start. A network operating system enables the device hardware to function and provides an interface for users to interact. In the CCNA course of study, students learn to configure both devices that connect to the network and devices such as PCs and devices that connect networks together, intermediary devices like routers and switches. Learning to configure the Cisco Inter-Network Operating System, Cisco IOS, on Cisco routers and switches is a large part of Cisco CCNA's program of study. The Cisco Inter-Network Operating System, iOS, is a generic term for the collection of network operating system used by Cisco networking devices. Cisco iOS is used for most Cisco devices, regardless of the type or size. Operating system parts. The shell. The portion that interfaces with applications and the user. The kernel. The portion of the OS that interacts directly with the computer hardware. Hardware. The physical part of the computer, including the underlying electronics. The user can interact with the shell using a command line interface, or the CLI, or a graphical user interface, the GUI. The CLI. The user interacts directly with the system in a text-based environment by entering commands on the keyboard in a command prompt. The system executes the command, often providing textual output. The CLI requires very little overhead to operate. The GUI. A GUI interface allows the user to interact with the system using an environment of graphical icons, menus, and windows. The GUI is more user-friendly and it requires less knowledge of underlying command structure that controls the system. For this reason, many individuals rely on GUI environments. Access methods. There are several ways to access the CLI environment and configure the device. The most common methods are console. This is a physical management port that provides out-of-band access to a Cisco device. Out-of-band access refers to the access via a dedicated management panel that is used for device maintenance purposes only. Secure shell, or the SSH. SSH is a method for remotely establishing a secure CLI connection through a virtual interface over a network. The telnet. The telnet is an insecure method of remotely establishing a CLI session through a virtual interface over a network. Unlike SSH, telnet does not provide a securely encrypted connection. User authentication, passwords, and commands are sent over the network in plain text. The Terminal Emulation Program, PuTTY. This is shown in the figure 1. Got a term here. The Secure CRT over here. So these are the different emulation programs: PuTTY, the TerraTerm, and the Secure CRT. Primary command modes. User exec mode. This mode has limited capabilities but is useful for basic operations. It allows user in a limited number of basic monitoring commands, but does not allow the execution of commands that might change the configuration of the device. The user exec mode is identified by the CLI that ends with the symbol this symbol or the greater than symbol. Privilege exec mode. To execute configuration commands, a network administrator must access privileged exec mode. Higher configuration modes, like global configuration mode, can only be reached in the privileged exec mode. The privileged exec mode can be identified by the prompt ending with the number sign symbol. Configuration command modes. Global configuration mode. Access before other specific configuration modes. Global config mode. The user can enter different sub-configuration modes. Common sub-configuration modes include line configuration mode, used to configure console, SSH, net, or the AUX access. Interface configuration mode, used to configure a switch port or router network interface. Basic iOS command structure. The keyword, a specific parameter defined in the operating system. Example of this is the IP protocols. Argument, not predefined, a value or variable defined by the user. Example of this is the 192.168.10.5. iOS command syntax. The following examples demonstrate conventions used to document and use the iOS command. Ping, and then the IP address. The command is ping, and the user-defined argument is the IP address of the destination device. For example, ping 10.10.10.5. So we use ping to see if the other PCs can reply to the ping. If we can see through pinging, we can know that that we are connected in the other device and they can reply to our network. Traceroute IP address. The command is traceroute. The user-defined argument is the IP address of the destination device. For example, traceroute 192.168.254.254. We can trace the route of our our packets. If we send packets, we can trace how they travel by using the traceroute command. iOS help features. Context-sensitive help enables you to quickly find which command are available in each command mode. Each command starts with the specific characters or group of characters, and which arguments and keywords are available to particular commands. To access the context-sensitive help, simply enter a question mark at the CLI. Command syntax check verifies that a valid command was entered by the user. When the command is entered, the command line interpreter evaluates the command from left to right. If the interpreter understands the command, the request action is executed. The CLI returns to the appropriate prompt. However, if the interpreter cannot understand the command being entered, it will provide a feedback describing what is wrong with the command. Host names. When configuring a networking device, one of the first steps is configuring a unique device name or host name. Host names that appear in CLI prompts can be used as various authentication process between devices and should be used as topology diagrams. Host names should start with a letter, contains no spaces, and with the letter or digit. Use only letters, digits, and dashes. Be less than 64 characters in length. Limit access to device configurations. Configure passwords. To secure privileged exec access, use the enable secret password global config command. Encrypt passwords. To encrypt passwords, use service password encryption global config command. Banner message. To create a banner message of the day on a network device, use the banner MOTD, the number sign, the message of the day, and the number sign. Global config command. Save configuration. There are two system files that are stored in the device configuration. Startup config. The file stored in the non-volatile random access memory (NVRAM) and that contains all the commands that will be used by the device upon startup or reboot. NVRAM does not lose its contents when the device is powered off. Running config. The file stored in the random access memory or the RAM. It reflects the current configuration. Modifying a running configuration affects the operation of a Cisco device immediately. RAM is volatile memory. It loses all its contents when the device is powered off or restarted. IP addresses. The use of IP addresses is a primary means of enabling devices to locate one another and establish end-to-end communication on the internet. Each end device of the network must be configured with an IP address. The structure of an IPv4 address is called dotted decimal notation and is represented by 4 decimal numbers between 0 and 255. IPv4 addresses are assigned to individual devices connected to a network. Interfaces and ports. Different types of network media have different features and benefits. Not all network media has the same characteristics and is appropriate for the same purpose. Some of the difference between various types of media include distance the media can successfully carry out a signal, environment in which the media is to be installed, amount of data and the speed at which it must be transmitted, cost of the media and installation, interfaces and ports. So this is an example of a copper wire, a fiber optics which has glass inside the wires and the wireless devices. Manual automatic IP address configuration for end devices. To manually configure IPv4 address on the Windows host, open the control panel, network sharing center, change adapter settings and choose the adapter. Next, right-click the select properties to display the local area network, the local area connection properties. In a network, DHCP enables automatic IPv4 address to configuration for every end device that has this HCP enabled. Imagine the amount of time it would consume every time you connect to the network. You had manually enter IPv4 address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, and the DNS server. Interface addressing verification. In the same way that you use commands or utilities for ipconfig to verify a PC host network configuration, we also use commands to verify the interfaces and address settings of intermediary devices like switches and routers. End-to-end connectivity test. The main command can be used to test connectivity on another device on the network or a website on the internet. So that's all for my summary of chapter 2. And thank you for watching.